to bring to you the amazing Dorota Moon, known to her friends, as I just found out, as Moon, but I've been calling her Dorota for the last year. Dorota, or Moon, has been the creative director for Mind Valley, but she's just transitioning into transformational relationship coaching with her new business, Nude. And I believe today she's actually going to talk more on the relationship side of flow. Yes? Beautiful. So take it away, pretty lady.
Hi guys. I'm so grateful to be here. So first of all, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about science of flow. And I don't look maybe like, but I'm actually very geeky and I love science. And I directed a documentary movie about enhanced states of consciousness in collaboration with Mind Valley. So I will talk to you first what is actually flow state. So have you ever been in the, let's say, dancing for hours, completely lost in the music, forgetting about the world around you? Or have you been on the date with somebody you're absolutely crazy about and seeing that the sun is already picking up over the horizon? Or you have been experiencing one of an altered state of consciousness that is called flow. And Stephen Kotler and Jamie Will describe 4 commonalities in this flow in this state of consciousness that is flow, that is selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, and richness. And while every ecstatic state of consciousness is experienced differently, they all have some sort of similarities. They all actually involve some combination of 5 most addictive neurochemicals that our brain can produce. And also, they actually activate our brain waves, our alpha waves and our theta waves. And so Flow Geno Project, that is actually a program that do research on flow states, created 4 profiles of people to tell us how actually individually we can get to the flow state more easily. So some of you will be heart, for example, chargers, and you will be stimulated by high-risk activities. Some of you will be flow goers, and you will be stimulated by art. Other people will be crowd pleasers, and those people will be stimulated by connection and by conversation with people. And other people will be deep thinkers, and these people need to read and contemplate in order to stimulate their flow. And so you can actually go on the website of Flow Geno Project and do a test to know which type are you. And there is also 10 individual triggers that stimulates our flow. And this is a passion, risk, novelty, complexity, under predictability, deep embodiment, immediate feedback, clear goals, challenge, and creativity. But today, I am not going to talk to you about normal flow and creativity and productivity. I'm going to talk to you about flow in relationships. Because if you don't have a flow in your relationship, that actually is influencing every single area of your life, right? You know that perfectly, right? You had a fight with your friend or partner, and literally you can't be creative, you can't be productive, you can't do anything. And on the other hand side, if you do have a flow in your relationship, you feel inspired, you feel motivated, you want to do so many things. And you have so many ideas, it's because you are constantly in the flow. So how to create a flow in your relationship? First of all, show at every moment who you are. And now, most of us and all of us wear some sort of masks at some point of our life, right? And wearing those masks means we are hiding ourselves, but it means we are rejecting ourselves constantly. And when we put this mask, actually, it's like creating a wall between other people and yourself. It's like locking yourself in your little house, closing windows, closing doors, and actually expecting that somebody will find you there. Somebody will walk on your door and like, hey, I'm here, but it's impossible. So nothing can actually get out and nothing can get in. So flow can't be there. So you can't receive and you can't give. So in order to actually create that flow, you need to be open. You need to remove that mask. And that means to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to at every moment communicate what you feel and what you think. And yes, you might be rejected, but from my own experience, it's much actually harder and more painful to be rejected for who you are not than for who you are, right? So I would actually invite you all to really try to be open all the time. And if you are not open, ask yourself, why am I not open? Why am I not actually creating that flow in my relationship with my parents, with my lovers, with my friends? Another very important point is to take personal responsibility for how you feel. And this is really important one, because you can't decide how somebody will react, how somebody will behave. But what you can choose is how you respond to that behavior. You know, when somebody touches you, touch your skin, you don't feel their hand. You feel a pressure on your own skin. What you feel at every moment is yours. This is your experience. If you have one person behaving in the room in a certain way, right now, all of you will have a different reaction. Why? Because our reaction is actually programmed by all the memories, all our experiences, all our beliefs, all the relationship we've been with, all the books we have ever read, all the movies we have ever watched, and so it's personal. And what means, like if you react to somebody's behavior emotionally, it means you take it personally. And what means taking it personally, it means that a certain situation creates a trigger that actually activates an association with a memory, that activates an emotion, that creates an assumption and then reaction. So what that means is that your reaction is actually information about you. Right? So you should take every of your personal reaction to your lovers, parents, friends as an information. Why do I react like that? And I guarantee if you remove all your memories and all your experiences, you will not have an emotional reactions to anything. You might be curious, interested, but you will never be triggered. So relationships are a great opportunity to actually discover who we are. And in order to create the flow in our relationship, we need to not take anything personally, because nothing is personal. Another point is to be present. And as I already mentioned in the description before, timelessness is one of the most important things in activating a flow state. So if you are not present, you can't be in the flow. It's impossible. And how many times we have a conversation with somebody through phone or even in person, and we are thinking about something completely else. It's a waste of time, guys. It's like you should not be talking to anybody if you are not able to give them your full attention, and that's it. Be present at every single moment, no matter what you do, even if it's dishwashing. And it can actually give you great satisfaction and great inspiration. You can download ideas by just simply being present. So being present not only creates a great connection with people, but really puts you in the flow state. Another point is don't take your other for granted. And what I mean by that is like people change all the time, especially people like you guys who are interested in personal growth. We change, we evolve on daily basis. We have shifts of consciousness, shifts of awareness. That means that the person you have met 1 day ago, 1 week ago, 1 year ago will be different. But we are trying to look at people in the same way that they used to be and frame them in that way we used to see them. And that means we actually constantly limit people with our own perception and our own vision of them. And in order to create actually that flow and that freshness and that novelty, we need to be ready to look at them at every single time as a new person. We need to treat every single hug and kiss as it was the first one, because they have changed and you have changed. And only by seeing everything in that way for the very first time, you can create that novelty. And novelty is absolutely the most important thing in activating flow. And also a very dear friend of mine, Jimmy Naray, in one of his talks on Nomad Cruise said, you know, think about this also in a different way. How many times per year you actually see your parents? 1, twice. We are all traveling. We are digital nomads. We are living, we have a location-independent lifestyle. And so how many years they're going to live? 10, 20? Multiply that. That means that you might see your parents only another 10 times or 20 times. How does it feel? Suddenly, it completely shifts your perspective. Oh my God, I might see my parents 10 times? I might put more actually presence and attention in actually seeing them, right? And the last most important point for me, which is very personal, is set your love free and let your love flow. And I actually recently realized that my love was not free, that I would always have an idea of my partner, of how they should be, how they should behave, what they should do. And every time they would not do that, I would get irritated, I would get frustrated, I would get angry, I would get disappointed. And I realized that actually my love was conditional. Because what I was communicating to them by criticizing them was, I'm not going to love you unless you are like that. And so how anybody can give me love if all I'm telling to them is that I'm gonna love you? So I was actually frightening my partners. How many of us do that in relationships? Criticizing, willing, somebody to be in a certain way. And so I ask myself, am I actually in love with my partner, or I am in love in my own idea of him? And when you remove that, not only you actually discover a person for who they are and set them free and let them be, but you also free yourself free. When I removed that idea of my partner, it let me and helped me to remove that idea of myself, that image of who I thought I should be, or who I thought the others wanted me to be. And that led to freedom and to experiencing a massive connection and massive flow on daily basis, because suddenly I didn't have that pressure on myself, and I was not putting that pressure on other people. And so that opened me to the possibility of who I might become. Thank you, guys. So this is my project.
Thank you, Moon.
Thank you.
So I would like to open up to the floor. Who has questions? Who would like to deep dive into this? Tyler, can I? Thank you, amazing mic runner. This is Scotty, the mic runner.
Thanks, Scotty. So I have a question about being completely present and speaking with somebody. When you do this, and because I've found that I'll give myself my full attention, fully engage in this conversation, but when you don't find that to be returned, how would you deal with that? Because I find I can't say most people, but a lot of people, if I may be interested in speaking with them, I don't get that return.
Yes. Well, you need to be careful how and where you invest your own time, right? So you might try, and you might, by your own presence, shift somebody, because your presence might be so powerful that you're going to shift them. And by asking very profound questions, you might remove them from their world and where they are. And that's beautiful if you have that possibility and that capacity to do that, and that patience. But if you see that they, simply are not in the same place, well, why would you talk to them in the first place? Why would you invest your time, your energy? And don't take it personally, because they might be going through some hard situation,
Right.
Something might have happened. It is not ever about you. And you can ask them, hey, I notice you are not present. And he might be, oh yeah, you are right, you know what, actually this is what happened. And you might open a possibility, a door to actually help somebody by being honest. Because that goes with another point, telling what you think, telling what you feel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
think it's helpful really to examine, like, sometimes you can listen to respond, but we're just thinking about the words next. We can feel that. So that I really challenge myself often when I'm actually listening to what somebody has to say, and I'm just like formulating my next thing. And that made a shift for me when people started to speak.
Right. As far as listening, I feel like I'm become a very, very good listener, but some of this has to do with friends back at home and even family, which scares me. And I think it's because I've been away from my own home so long. When I go home, I'm more interested in these topics or these questions that maybe my friends and family are just, it's foreign to them. So I feel like, why am I talking to this person when they've been my best friend for years and I don't feel we can connect anymore? But I think that's part of just growth, personal growth, and maybe they're not interested and they don't understand what it is that I'm going through. So yeah, I guess you answered it with just surrounding myself with better people. That could be it.
Did we learn that yesterday?
That could be it.
Yeah,
Yes.
some people, like, yes, we learned that yesterday. Some people will be before you, some people will be in the same place than you, and some people will be above you in their evolution, in their understanding, but not always in all areas, right? So it's like, where do you invest your time? With who do you invest your time with? But I know exactly what you are talking about. Like old friends from 20 years ago, you don't want to let go of them. But you want to see them and have the same connection you used to have, and that's impossible. So unless you see them with your new eye as a new person and ask yourself, do I, at this moment of my life, want to be a friend with them? Or am I holding to this just because of the history? And, you need to choose. Yes.
Just wanted to share with Tyler that some people actually need an invitation to be present, because we now get taught how to be present. We get taught to escape the conversation in the first 30 seconds. And I do it in a very clumsy way because I haven't found a more elegant way yet, but I just reveal my experience. Hey, I really want to connect with you, but I feel that you're not present. Is this a bad moment? Shall we sit down? And in general, I find that people is really wanting to be present. We don't know how to do it. Thank you.
Moon, what I want to hear, or what I would like to ask, is ensuring that you're taking full responsibility for your emotions at any given time takes practice, right? To not be hijacked by the outside world. And I assume there's things that you implement in your own lives, like rituals and practices. Can you share some of them?
Oh my God, so many. I don't want to overwhelm you. I try to practice meditation on a daily basis. I do have mantras. I try to, once in a while, go to ashram or to the place when I disconnect and I'm not connected to social media in any way, so I can remind myself how does it feel to be with me and with myself and with my own energies. But I think the most important, because this lifestyle can really easily kind of put us in the bubble. When you're like, okay, this is all the techniques I'm doing and I'm good when I'm doing it. But what if you travel and you don't have all those techniques and you can't meditate every day and you are triggered by all these people? That's when you learn the most. Because this is a safe zone. This is like, okay, my meditation, my this, my da-da-da-da-da. But when you travel and you meet all the people all the time, new people, when you are in the relationship and it's not going perfectly well because of different moments you are going through life, that's when you learn the most. And this is the amazing opportunity to actually practice to detach from your emotions. And on the beginning, it might take you a few days to realize you literally might not talk to your partner for a few days. It's like it was his fault. And then it's going to take you a day. And then it's going to take you a few hours. And then you will see it instantaneously. You will see it, oh my God, it's not just him, it's me, it's my own reaction. And if your partner is conscious enough, you can sit down and talk about this. And when you take a responsibility for what you feel, you actually find out that your partner will also take a responsibility. And that creates a beautiful connection. And I don't know if I answered your question, but
one last question.
Hi, my name's Colby.
Yes. Yes.
Press the button so the orange light goes off. With the minus, guys, orange light is off. Press the button.
Thank you. I'm Bobby. I just want to say thank you for that talk. So many profound things in there. I really thought it was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
It really touched a lot of places for me. So yeah, I just really like the fact that you talked about the science of flow at the start of it as well. I've looked into that a fair amount, and one of the things I found quite interesting about it was like having rituals or just a structure to the way you approach that.
Yes.
And this kind of builds on the previous question as well. In terms of relationships, are there any sort of like gems of structure or
Things you can do.
things you can do, that you could talk about?
To create flow, right? In a relationship, yes. Well, you know, I like to have design for a lot of things and structure things, and in the same way you can literally use your profiles in order to discover what you can do in order to stimulate your flow. You can discover within your relationship what is that works for you that you can use that stimulates your guys' flow. And that means sometimes, you know, even if you've been with your partner for 10 years, like have a day when you really have a date day, when you do something special, when you surprise yourself, when you write a letter or whatever. It's an effort, yes, and you don't feel like doing this after 5 years. But doing that and really treating and bringing novelty into your relationship, that is what is going to stimulate flow. It's really novelty and it's really presence. And kind of taking that time, taking that moment, not just eating a dinner in silence. It's like going out, dressing up, putting yourself, preparing yourself for that special moment. Because it is special. You don't know how long it's going to be there. Really. We assume it's going to stay there forever. But you don't know. Nobody can know. So it's like, you know, agree with your partner what you both like. Maybe you like traveling, go and force yourself to go on the weekend together. Create those rituals together when you can sit down. If you both love writing, write together or read to each other, right? My partner, for example, reads me because I'm dyslexic and I hate reading out loud. And it's a beautiful ritual. It's like create whatever works for you, but consciously discover that. This is what I like. Sit down. Like, this is what I'm like doing. This is what I appreciate. This is where I feel love. This is when I feel present. And create those rituals and then commit to that. Because commitment, you can design anything, but if you don't commit to that, it's going to fade. It's going to simply fade. So, yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Moon.
Thank
That was
you.
amazing.